Bonjour mes amis, my name is Mimi, and I'm just your average Parisian street cat, or rather, I was. You see, I wasn't just any feline enjoying a sunbeam on a quiet alley wall, or chasing a particularly plump mouse in the city's underbelly. Oh, no. My whiskers twitched through some of the most tumultuous times this city has ever known. My paws trod on cobblestones that saw history being made, blood spilled, and empires rise and fall. Imagine, if you will, the bustling streets of late 18th century Paris, brimming with the aroma of fresh bread, roasting chestnuts, and a faint scent of simmering discontent. I, Mimi, was there for it all, a fluffy, four-legged observer of the human drama. While philosophers debated in salons and nobles feasted in palaces, I was getting a real, paws-on education. So, settle in, find a cozy spot, and let me tell you about the French Revolution, not from dusty books, but from the perspective of a very observant cat. Life, before everything went a bit wild, was quite predictable. My days were a delightful routine of sunbathing on a warm window ledge near Monsieur Dubois' boulangerie, snatching a dropped crumb or two, and accepting a gentle head scratch from a kind market vendor. The sounds of clopping hooves, lively chatter, and the occasional street musician were my everyday symphony. Humans were, for the most part, quite silly, but often generous with their scraps. I'd overhear snippets of conversation, whispers about liberté and égalité, words that tasted like a fresh catch to their ears, though I couldn't quite grasp their meaning beyond the excited tones. I mostly just noticed that people looked a bit more anxious, and the lavish parties seemed to dwindle. Then, one scorching summer day in July, the entire city erupted. It wasn't a particularly loud cart or a dogfight, it was a human roar, a deep, guttural sound that rumbled through the very cobblestones beneath my paws. My strategic nap spot was utterly ruined. Thousands of humans, not just market-goers, but everyone, streamed towards that grim gray fortress, the Bastille. There was dust, shouting, the clatter of what sounded like very large sticks. And then, a deafening cheer. I saw people running back, their faces flushed with a strange mix of fear and triumph. The air smelled of gunpowder and human exhilaration. It was chaotic, thrilling, and suddenly, my quiet Paris was anything but. After that, the humans changed. They gathered in coffee houses and public squares, their voices buzzing like a disturbed beehive. They were always reading pamphlets, arguing, and passionately reciting something called the Declaration of the Rights of Man. I didn't understand the words, but I understood the feeling behind them. There was a new energy, a hunger for change. More scraps were accidentally dropped by gesturing hands, a silver lining for a keen-eyed cat. I saw less of the fancy carriages, less of the powdered wigs. The king and queen, who once passed by with such pomp, simply vanished. There was a collective gasp, a sense of awe mixed with fear, as if the very foundations of the city had shifted. But then, things took a darker turn. The period they called the Reign of Terror. The city seemed to hold its breath. The joyous shouts of revolution were replaced by hushed whispers and nervous glances. The constant, ominous creak and rumble of carts, not carrying market goods but something far more chilling, became the dreadful soundtrack of the streets. Fewer familiar faces greeted me. Many simply disappeared. The baker, Monsieur Dubois, who used to leave out a small saucer of milk, now kept his door firmly shut, his eyes wary. The usual camaraderie of the alley cats dissolved into cautious solitude. Food became scarcer. I learned to hide better, to be quicker, to trust only the shadows. The joy was gone from human faces, replaced by a chilling suspicion. Even the philosophers looked grim, their debates now muted and tense. It was a time when even a street cat felt the cold grip of fear, yearning for the warmth of a simple, forgotten sunbeam. Slowly, thankfully, that intense chill began to lift. The carts became less frequent. The fear, though never truly gone, receded from the forefront of daily life. People started to breathe a little easier, tentatively rebuilding their lives amidst the rubble of the old regime. New leaders emerged, different ones, less about grand ideals and more about bringing a semblance of order back to a weary city. Then, a new kind of energy emerged, embodied by a man with a stern gaze and a distinctive hat, Napoleon. Suddenly, there were parades again, But these were different. They were about discipline, order, and glory. The crisp sounds of marching boots, the grandeur of new uniforms, the smell of ambition and freshly paved streets. Paris was transforming once more, from chaos to empire. I saw him once, his boots clicking purposefully on the very cobblestones I walked. He had a stern look, but not the terrifying kind, more a look of absolute, unwavering purpose. The city was eager for a new beginning, and even I, Mimi, could sense the powerful currents of change pulling Paris towards a new destiny. And so, my friends, I, Mimi, saw it all. From a pampered scavenger to a streetwise survivor, my 9 lives felt like they spanned centuries. Paris, ever resilient, ever beautiful, changed dramatically, yet somehow remained utterly herself. Humans are truly fascinating creatures, capable of such passionate dreams, such profound fear, and such incredible strength to rebuild. My whiskers twitched through the very heart of the French Revolution, witnessing the birth of a new era right from the vantage point of a Parisian alleyway. What did I learn? That even amidst the greatest upheavals, a good nap in a warm spot is invaluable. That even when humans are lost in their grand dramas, a kind hand and a dropped morsel are always appreciated. And that history, darling, is always unfolding right under your very nose, even if you're just a street cat observing from the shadows. Yawn, stretch. It's been quite the journey, hasn't it? Now, if you'll excuse me, I believe I hear the distant rumbling of a food cart, and a cat's got to eat. Au revoir for now, and remember to always keep a keen eye on the world around you. You never know what amazing stories are unfolding.